I grew up in a very loving family, very united, very together, but then something really tragic happened, and it was, for me as a child, it was like it was overnight. My dad committed suicide, and the way he did it, it was so unexpected, so, shocking, that it really impacted my life. And because I didn't really have a father figure as such, I didn't really know what I was looking for in the partner that I would then, be with. So I kind of went with the emotions of things, but there was something that my mum said that I really stuck with. She said, let your first boyfriend be the one that you married, and I really, really wanted that, even though my friends were doing other things. That was something that really stayed with me. I really want to be with my first boyfriend. And I did meet my first boyfriend, and everything just seemed so perfect, but I didn't look at his qualities, I didn't look at the values, I didn't look at, a future with him. I was just so happy that someone liked me. I just had this complex about myself that, no one would ever really want me. So the fact that he liked me, I was so happy, and I think I kind of just ran away with that relationship. And before I knew it, we were married. That day that he left, I felt like my whole world as a person collapsed. I felt like I died with him because he left me. I felt I had nothing. I felt I was zero. I felt my whole future. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And the pain started from there. I could say that if I had any value, I lost it when he left. When he said, I don't love you anymore, and he left, I died there. It was really awful. I couldn't see anything good in my life after that time. It was an effort to see anything positive. Even when my mum would say, oh no, you're a beautiful girl, don't worry, you're young, you're going to find someone else. No, I couldn't even accept the words. It used to just bounce off me. I'd smile, but really inside, I felt like no one's going to want me now. No one's going. This was as best. This was as good as it was going to get, and it's not going to get any better now. And that affected everything in my life because I didn't have any value of myself. I couldn't give it to anyone. I was invited, however, to attend a very special meeting for Love Life at my local church. And although at the first time when I was approached, I was like, you are joking me, that's a great area. I really don't want to touch Love Life right now, and I don't actually want to ever touch it. I've decided that some way, somehow, I'm going to be on my own, and that's it. And this person was really convincing. He was like, what have you got to lose? Your heart has been broken, you're already down, you can only step up now. So why don't you give yourself a chance? Don't give it a chance, give yourself a chance. And the more I thought about it, I thought, well, he's right, I don't actually have anything to lose here. I started to go, but honestly, attending that first meeting was the hardest thing I had to do. It was so hard. I think I cried during the whole meeting, but you know what? As I kept going, and as I kept hearing the words, I started to realize that I needed to heal for myself. I needed to understand what it was to truly be a single person, to be me, to find my identity. So before I could love someone, I needed to love myself. I needed to know who I was, where I was going in life. I came into this world on my own. I'm going to leave it on my own. Why did I need to depend so much on someone else? Where did that come from? This year, actually, I'm going to be celebrating 5 years of marriage to a very special, very handsome man, by the way, who knows my value because I've taught him to know my value, if you know what I mean. And I also know his value. And it's really, really, really very special. It's very, very different. Our marriage is something that I'm so, so proud of because I've built it not on the things that I think that he needs from me or I need from him. I've built it on something that is different. I'm giving to him because I have something to give now. I'm concerned about building him up. I'm not concerned about him leaving me or him treating me badly because no, if I give him something positive, he then returns something positive to me. It starts with me, and I've understood that in my relationship. And because of that, I'm truly happy.
Hello, a very good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. Every time we come here and do this program, we are excited. We want to be here because we believe that we have something to say that can actually help you. It's good to know that what you can say, what you have to say can actually make a positive impact in someone's life. And tonight we are talking about when does a spiritual, or rather, when does a physical problem become a spiritual problem? Are these two linked? Actually, do you even believe that they are spiritual problems? But let's talk about this for a second. Think about it. I mean, when something happens to you, something you can't explain, maybe you put that down to coincidence, maybe an event that you may think it's bad luck, you may put that down to coincidence. But then it happens a second time. And then a third time. When do you cross the line from a physical problem to a spiritual problem? Let me give you another example. You feel sick. So you go to the doctor and the doctor says, listen, the problem you have is that your sugar count is low or you're deficient in iron or whatever it is. But then again, there's another time where you feel really unwell. You feel sick. And then you go to the doctor and he can't diagnose what the problem is. And then you go to another doctor. And then you go to a specialist. And then you go to a different country. And you go to all these avenues. But you can't find, never mind the cure, but you can't even find what the problem is. Because if you know what the problem is, then you can fight against it. But if you don't know what the problem is, then what chance do you have of succeeding? Is that a spiritual problem? What about a person who struggles at night with nightmares that are very, very vivid, as if they were real? Actually, we have had people on this show before saying that the nightmares were so real that they would wake up with scratches on their body in places that they could not have scratched themselves. Perhaps if you've been following these programs for a while now, you've heard stories like this. People who, they were petrified of going to sleep because of experiences like this. Could that be a spiritual problem? What about your problem? You who are watching me now. Could your problem be a spiritual problem? Are you going through something that there is no explanation for what you are going through? I remember someone who's also been on this show who said that she was engaged 4 times. And these 4 times she was engaged, all these men broke off the engagement in the exact same way, in the exact same period of time. So always after 3 months, I think it was, or 6 months of being engaged, the man would always call off the wedding. And not only that, they would say, I don't know why I can't be with you anymore, but I just can't. Now, once you may understand, twice, maybe 3 times, but 4 times, could something spiritual be behind that? So I want you to ask yourself this question today. Can your problem be a spiritual problem? Are you going through something right now that no matter how much you try to plausibly explain what is going on, and you can't find an explanation, a solution for that, never mind a solution, an explanation, then perhaps it could be that your problem is spiritual. Maybe you say, James, actually now that you're saying that, it makes a lot of sense. And let's talk about depression as well. Depression is something that has been clinically proven that it is an illness and so on. But why do people get depressed? Because sometimes people get depressed for no apparent reason. If everything goes wrong, you understand why a person would be depressed. And sometimes a person is depressed, is suicidal for no reason. I have my usual sidekick here with me, Michael. How are you, Michael?
Good, thank you, James.
You know, I heard someone say, how come in Africa, a place where people have virtually nothing, in some places, not all over Africa, not generalizing, but sometimes in a place where people have nothing and they have reasons to be depressed, and sometimes they don't even know what the word depression means. They're struggling, but they're happy and they smile. And sometimes we here have everything we want, and yet people struggle with depression. Could it be a spiritual problem?
In most cases, I believe that it could be a spiritual problem. As we know, we have doctors who will try to help you in any way that you can with the medication and counseling, but there are some problems which can be spiritual. And as you were describing, what's a spiritual problem? It's something that you can't explain. It's something that you try to find help for, but yet, no matter what you try to do, the experts don't even have an explanation. So it can't be just physical. right? If people believe, you know, when they die, they go to heaven. That's what many people believe, despite their religion or their belief. They believe that they're going to heaven, not the physical body, but their soul. So, isn't there something spiritual linked to the soul as well, here, right now?
And listen, I don't want to tell you that if you struggle with depression, it's a spiritual problem or not. Let's not get into that. But it could be that some of the problems you are going through are spiritual. And let me just give a last example. I was looking into this yesterday. I was looking into people who struggle with fears, phobias. Some phobias are normal. I mean, I have friends of mine who are pastors, and they have phobia of cockroaches. That's different. But what about people who have panic attacks? Actually, Michael, your wife, she had panic attacks really badly before she knew about the power of faith. Your wife, she had some serious episodes of panic attacks. Tell us about it.
And depression as well. She had it for 7 years. I was with her for the last 5 years. So I was seeing what was going on in her life. And my idea of helping her was, you know, it's all in your mind. Well, and that's the worst thing you can say to someone who's going through a problem like that.
Well, but when your wife had these panic attacks, describe one of them to us, the worst ones you saw.
It would mainly happen at night, around this time. That's why she would try to avoid staying at home. We would, when we were dating, we would go out. We'd go out with friends. We'd go out nightclubs. But when we got home, it was like, that's it. She would try to drink alcohol to knock herself out to sleep. It didn't work. And you think, drinking alcohol, getting drunk, you would. Taking pills, even sleeping tablets, she tried all of that. It didn't work.
But
so she would fear. She would shake.
What made her have these panic attacks? Was there anything that would trigger that off?
It was just, she couldn't describe it. It was just at night time, it would happen at night. During the day, sunshine, everything's fine. At night time, those episodes would come, and she couldn't sleep at all for those 7 years.
You know, maybe you're watching me now and you say, James, you're talking there, and it's like you know my life. It's like you know exactly what's happening to me, because that's exactly how I feel. I suffer with panic attacks. I suffer with depression. I'm always sick, and I don't know why I'm sick. My relationships, for no reason, they break up. I don't even know why certain things that happen to me happen. I desperately need help. Perhaps you've reached a point where you think your problem is no longer a physical problem. Perhaps it manifests itself physically, but you feel there's a spiritual root to that. And actually, the person who's with me in the studio tonight will be sharing her story. I have to be very honest with you. Her name is Pamela, and I've known her since she first set foot in church, and it's because I used to follow up on her case. I don't know if she'll be very happy with what I'm going to say now. How are you, Pamela? You're okay?
Yeah.
Pamela, when you first came to the church, I got to a point of thinking, I don't know if this girl can be helped. I don't know if I can, because we really tried, but it's like we were coming against a brick wall.
Yeah.
It was that bad, right?
It was that bad because when I started coming to church, I was hearing voices basically.
Do you remember us talking to you?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah. I remember you speaking to me, and I was like, well, I'm never going to be better. These voices aren't going to stop. I can't stop drinking, you know.
You were diagnosed with what?
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So you were labeled with
Yeah.
schizophrenia, and you used to take medication for it.
I had to take 3 types of medication, antipsychotics, antidepressants, and sleeping pills, all at one time.
We're going to find out later if your problem was spiritual or physical. So she was labeled as a schizophrenic person, taking antipsychotic drugs, you name it. Even I got to the point, it's not that I gave up on her, but I used to think, my God, how else can we help this person? Because everything we tried wouldn't work. Do you know why? Because when we went to the root of the problem, that was a spiritual problem, then her life changed. If you need help, if you feel your problem is of a spiritual nature and you need help, then contact us here tonight. 020-7686-6300. 020-7686-6300. You can call us, leave your name for prayer, or you can speak to me on air. Maybe you say, James, are you saying that every person who has depression has a spiritual problem? No, but I believe that usually the root for depression is a spiritual problem. I believe that. And if you want to talk to me and you disagree, listen, hey, I'm here. I will not turn your call down. I will speak to you. After the break, we're going to find out about the amazing story of Pamela and how she overcame not just the label, but the problem of schizophrenia. That's the word. We'll see you after the break.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020-7686-6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
When I was a child, I was pretty happy until about 5. I grew up with my mom and stepfather who loved me very much. And an incident happened when I was about 5 years old until I was about six and a half. And everything changed. When I was about 19 years old, I started smoking. And a bit after that, growing up with my entire family were alcoholics. So there was alcohol around. So it wasn't difficult for me to start drinking. And because of the way I was feeling inside, I was feeling dirty, I was feeling unloved, I was feeling more or less worthless, I would say. I developed lots of complexes. These complexes were because the voice in my head used to tell me that I was useless, I wasn't good for anything, And from that, I started drinking. I started smoking, drinking, and just being down, depressed. I was very depressed, but as I got older, the depression got stronger because I started drinking even more. And then I met my second husband, who was an alcoholic, and that's where everything spiraled downhill. I tried to keep up with him drinking alcohol, and we both got deeper and deeper into alcoholism. Even though neither of us would say we were alcoholics, but we were. We drank from in the morning until in the evening. At the weekends, it was a party of drinking. And I used to try and keep up with him, sometimes even telling him that I could drink him under the table, so to speak. So, and it felt good. It felt good because I didn't have to think about the voices in my head. I've tried, you know, the kind of people that you go to who say they'll help you and you have to pay them thousands of pounds, but instead of getting better, you get worse, which is what happened to me. I never did think that I'd get help. But then someone told me about a place where I could go to and get help. When I went there, I spoke to women who had faith. And they had faith in me, they had faith in themselves, and the help that they gave to me, I overcame quite a lot of what was happening to me. For women who are going through the same thing that I've gone through, I'd like to say that I found a faith that helped me overcome. Faith in myself. This faith taught me that whatever I do, if I believed what I'm doing, then I would overcome. And it's that made me overcome. It helped me to overcome.
Here's how much depression is affecting people here in the UK. Have a look at this video.
There's an unprecedented epidemic of depression in our society today, also with the anxiety disorders that often overlap depression, such as insomnia. More and more people are being diagnosed with depression, including millions of children. Despite there still being no exact knowledge of what these medications do to developing brains. Statistics show that in some places in the UK, 1 in 6 adults are on prescribed antidepressants, with Blackpool having the highest prescription rate, according to the Health and Social Care Information Centre. Mental and emotional health in our society isn't good and is declining. A medical doctor of the University of Arizona, Dr. Andrew Weil, questioned the pharmaceutical drugs being used to change the brain chemistry involved with mental and emotional health. He stated that the most common antidepressants work no better than placebos in most cases of mild to moderate depression.
Welcome back. Now we're going to hear from Pamela and her amazing story, but I want to find out, Pamela. I'm not going to say welcome because I did that earlier, but I want to find out from you, how do you remember your life prior to suffering with schizophrenia?
Well, I started drinking and smoking cigarettes at a young age at secondary school, so my main aim was basically not to focus on my studies. I just wanted to go out clubbing with my friends, things like that. Dating older guys, just being rebellious really during that
The
age.
drinking, was that like occasionally, or did it turn into heavy drinking?
It was occasionally. I wasn't addicted to alcohol. It'd only be at the weekends when I'd go to nightclubs and parties like that. Yeah.
So I was asking you earlier during the break if there was something that triggered off the schizophrenia, but you said you can't really remember anything specific.
Nothing specific. Nothing that could say, you know, this triggered it. I mean, as I said, I used to go out drinking and smoking and having a laugh with my friends, but nothing that could have triggered what was going to happen.
Right. So tell me something. How did it happen? I mean, did you wake up one day and you were schizophrenic, or I mean, how did it happen? Try to explain to us.
It's strange because it happened overnight. Basically, I was basically upstairs in my bedroom, and I started hearing a voice talking to me.
So like an audible voice, like someone actually speaking.
Yes, like a real voice speaking to me. And at first, the minute that happened, I was thinking I was telepathic. I had like supernatural powers. I mean, it's really strange because I didn't have any, sign this was going to happen to me at all.
You never had anything similar to that prior to this event?
Never. So basically, when that happened, I was thinking, okay, I'm telepathic now. I'm hearing a voice. I can hear people's thoughts. And at the first like half an hour, I was hearing the person talk to me in my head. I was thinking, oh, this might be good. This might be a good thing because maybe I can communicate now and that I've got superpowers and stuff like this. This is what was going on in my head. And then, I mean, after about an hour or so, I just thought, and then I started hearing another voice come in. And then I kind of basically, even at that stage, then I started to feel loss of control. Like, what am I going to do? I can't control this now. How am I going to control these voices?
Right. So this started just like that overnight.
Yeah.
There was nothing that perhaps
triggered
it. And all of a sudden you felt like your life was now out of control.
Yeah. I felt that I had no control over my own thoughts.
Right. So, I mean, because with in terms of voices, I think everyone has not voices but thoughts, right? You sometimes you get negative thoughts or like a negative idea. That's sort of normal, but with you it was an actual voice.
Because the psychiatrist used to say to me, are you sure it's not your thoughts? I said, no, they're real voices, because at that stage more started to come. So by the time I was placed on all the tablets, all the medication, there was at least 4 or 5 or 6 different voices, male, female, young people, inside my head talking all at the same time.
Right. So the psychiatrist wanted you to believe that it was something in your mind, but actually you could hear these things.
Yeah.
Now, when were you told that you were schizophrenic? When were you told, okay, this is schizophrenia?
Well, from that stage onwards, I went and spoke with my mum. I was telling Mum, I'm hearing voices. I think I'm telepathic, and obviously for me to be telling her that, she said, okay, there's something wrong here. And it went on for about a week, and I actually didn't sleep either. I wasn't sleeping during this time. And I think after about 10 days, my mum said, okay, I'm going to take her to the hospital now, or to the psychiatrist or to the doctors, because this can't go on.
And what was their approach to dealing with that problem?
And they placed me on medication. And then said that they would put me through counselling as well. But the first thing they did was put me onto the tablets.
Right. Did that help?
It didn't help.
What were the effects? Not just the side effects, but what did that do to you?
I just felt drowsy, just tired all the time. And as soon as I started taking the tablets, I also put on a lot of weight as well.
So everything in your life went out of control, right? So you were not in control of your thoughts, of the way you felt. Even your weight went out of control. You said
I couldn't work then either, because the voices were controlling me. Basically, they were taking control of everything.
Right. So there was no chance even of you having a job.
No, not at that stage.
Okay. So I mean, you were the typical person that we see sometimes in the street. Were you talking to yourself, by the way, sometimes?
Yeah, I was talking to myself. I was talking to them, trying to make deals with them. If you be quiet, I'll be your friend. I used to try to make pacts with them. I used to talk with them. I used to scream at them, cry at them, tell them to stop. I used to say to them, if you stop, what shall I do? I'll do something for you if you stop talking to me.
And so what I was trying to say is that you were that kind of person that we see on the street sometimes talking to themselves, and no one knows what to do with them. The kind of person that people will say, this is schizophrenia, or this is I don't know, do you know any other terms for this kind? Manic depression, and what's the other one? Psychosis. I don't
psychosis.
know, right? So all this you were that person, and this lasted for how long?
Probably about 5-6 years altogether.
Right. How was your life during those 5-6 years? Describe your life to us at that point.
Well, then, because the tablets weren't working,
Mm-hmm.
I started drinking alcohol, like heavily on my own, not like
Mm-hmm.
it was when I was younger. So what I would do, I'd start drinking on my own. I'd go down to the off license, buy the cheapest, I think 6 cans of beer for £5,
Mm-hmm.
the cheapest bottles of wine for $3.99, and I'd stock up
Mm-hmm.
and I'd start drinking like in the afternoon, as like 4 o'clock I'd start, and I'd drink myself
Right.
just to drown the voices out. That's what I would be doing.
So during those 5-6 years, today, do you remember those 5-6 years, or
Yeah.
are they like a blur? You remember everything?
I remember everything because I
Right.
remember where I came from.
Okay, and so you started drinking
Yeah.
heavily. How else did your life change?
Well, because I put so much weight on as well, because not only that, the medication, the fast food, I wasn't cooking, cleaning the house, and the drinking of the alcohol, and like people didn't recognize me because of the state I was in.
Right.
I never used to wash my hair. Sometimes I didn't brush my teeth. And because I was so big, like if people seeing me from school or any of my cousins or anything like that, they'd be like, wow, she's put on lots of weight. Look, have you seen how much she's changed? What's wrong with her? You know, and that used to get me down as well.
Right. I remember when you first came to church. I don't know if I was the first person who spoke to you, but I was one of the first
Yes.
people who spoke to you. And you remember that as well?
Yeah,
You remember our conversations?
yeah, I do.
I mean,
It helped me so much.
During that time, it sort of makes us understand things in a different light, because I've been to visit people who are in mental hospitals, mental institutions, and when you see people there, for example, the doctors and nurses, they're trying to help, but if you think that a spiritual problem is a physical problem, then you're fighting things in the wrong way, and your problem, or Pamela, I don't know if you agree with me, but it was certainly spiritual. Do you think it was?
I believe, or now looking back at it, I believe definitely. But at the time, when you used to tell me this is a spiritual problem, because I was too ignorant to accept it, I would say, no, I've got mental health problems and things like this, until, you know, I kind of like, listened to what the pastor was saying and started coming to the services and understood deliverance and things like that.
Okay, in a few moments you're going to tell us how you changed your life.
Yeah.
Because, for example, you see, maybe you say, James, how do you know that she's truly recovered? Well, you said that there was no chance of you having a job,
Yeah.
right? And today things are different. You're
Yeah.
going to tell us about it in just a moment. But first, I want to go and hear what the people in the streets of London have to say about problems that are spiritual. How are they linked to physical problems that we have? What's the connection? Here's what they had to say.
Well, this is a very tricky one because
Tonight we're speaking about spiritual well-being. Is it linked to our physical? How much of an impact has modern life had on it? Let's find out what the people think. What is your understanding of spiritual well-being?
I think it starts with peace, which you could, put in many different contexts. One would be peace like within yourself, peace with the world around you, and maybe ultimately the universe.
Spiritual well-being, that's having faith, living according to certain rules, and just yourself, life, and everything gelling together.
I'm not entirely sure. I guess spiritual well-being is probably something that you would have to reach within yourself.
Is our physical and spiritual well-being linked?
I would say so, yeah, definitely. Probably the spiritual and the physical in that way around. So, if you are feeling spiritually sort of unwell, I think that can certainly impact your physical well-being.
I think it is in a way because, like for example, you have to do some activity and sport to feel good in your body, and if you feel good in your body, you will then feel good in your mind, and that will help your spiritual well-being. So I think they are really linked together.
Has modern life impacted on spiritual well-being?
Absolutely, there is no question about that. We live in a world that has been, fueled by consumerism and goods and material and a lot of things that are just completely outside of yourself.
I don't know, I mean, I'm not spiritual myself, but I guess you have to set yourself some time apart to do your spiritual, prayers or go to church, and in a modern lifestyle I guess people don't really have the time for that.
Modern lifestyle has complicated tranquility and silence, and this self-development that happens during those periods of silence has been compromised. But we have also developed, we've also kind of transcended and made technology out of some of our spiritual skills. The web is quite spiritual in its own way, and we've managed to use it to communicate and break down barriers, and that has been the evolution of thought as a result of this tool, for example, and the modernity that the web represents is enhanced. So it's a twofold question, and it's hard to side with either one of them, but certainly there is a kind of spiritual trepidation going on because things are moving so fast.
We just had someone walk in front of the cameras. She just thought, you know what, they're coming back in 2 seconds, let me walk across in front of the camera, see what happens. And that's what happens. But anyway, this is a live program. Now, you know what I was thinking about these people who were talking there, about the spiritual being connected to the physical, is that a lot of people today say that they don't believe in God. But if you don't believe in God, how can you believe in something spiritual? Because the two have to be linked for sure. And I want to tell you that if you heard what I said in the beginning of this program and you are going through a problem that you think is somehow linked to a spiritual problem, then you're going to be amazed at how Pamela managed to overcome that problem that she had. I keep forgetting the name. Schizophrenia. I know this name very well. I don't know why I keep forgetting, but how she overcame this problem. I want you to hear from her, because perhaps what she did can help you as well. We're going to go into a short break and we'll be right back.
So I'm here at the place where it's believed that Jesus was crucified, in the tomb, the garden tomb where we are here right now. And we know what he died for. When he died on the cross on Good Friday, he carried with him our infirmities, all our problems, so that we do not need to carry it again. He died on Friday, he resurrected on Sunday, and by our faith in him, we can be free from any problem that this world brings to us. So I want to invite all of you to touch a piece of this mantle here. In all our UCKGs there in the United Kingdom, we are going to touch a piece of this mantle here, representing the mantle of Jesus. Like the woman who came from far, she had tried absolutely everything, doctors, physicians, no one could help her, but she said, if I just touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. And she was healed.
One-third of women in the world are victims of violence or sexual abuse. The World Health Organization considers the problem a global endemic. After all, these women are everywhere. She sits next to you on the bus. She walks past you in the aisle at the supermarket. She could be your manager, a friend, your sister. She could be the person you least expect. For this reason, let us break the silence. The Rahab Project invites you who have been a victim of physical, verbal, or sexual abuse, or any other form of domestic abuse, to participate in a meeting aimed at your physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual freedom, promoting peace to all women who are or have been victims of abuse. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org/Rahab.
I want to find out straight from Pamela how she managed to overcome the schizophrenia. I remember the word now. Pamela, so, I mean, after trying tablets for years and medications and antipsychotic drugs that didn't help, only made things worse, where did the church come in? How did you know about the church? How did you come to the church?
Well, came to the church through the city newspaper. Basically, it was posted through my letterbox, and I was reading it, and I thought, wow, I was reading through the testimonies, the timetable at the back, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give this place a call because, you know, because I was trying so much things. I even tried acupuncture. I found that in the yellow pages. There's anything to see if I could be healed or delivered from these voices. So I was trying everything at the time. And when I received the city news through the letterbox, I thought, I'm going to ring this place and see what this is about. Because I've seen the testimonies of healing in the newspaper as well. So I spoke with one of the girls, and then she was telling me about how she's overcome what the church has done for her and her family and things like that. And basically, she booked me an appointment, and then I came down to the branch in Finsbury Park, and then attended one of the services. And
that's when I spoke to you.
Yeah, that's when you spoke to me as well. And basically, when I was speaking to you, it's like understanding basically of the spiritual side of the schizophrenia, because I was dealing with the physical side with the tablets and the doctors and things like this, but no one ever spoke to me about the spiritual side of it. And understanding that as well kind of made me understand, yeah, this is a spiritual problem as well. I have to overcome this spiritually.
Now, you know, a lot of people who are watching us now are saying like this, look, these people are crazy. Right? These people are crazy because the problem that she had, schizophrenia, is a medical problem. Okay, it may be a problem that has a medical term. It does not necessarily mean that it's a medical problem. And I'm not here debating the merits of taking medication or not. You know, if you have to take, you have to take, but for you it didn't work. Then you started to use your faith and decided to change things. After you were set free, how did the voices stop? Because they started just like that. How did they stop?
They didn't stop just like that. Gradually, what happened, I had to stop smoking, I had to stop drinking, I had to stop going out to raves and nightclubs. You know, doing the wrong things. I had to stop sleeping around with people. So basically, I had to start to sort things out.
So even though you were struggling with schizophrenia, you were still doing all these things?
Yeah, I was still doing all them things at that time as well.
Right.
But as I said, the voices, it gradually took about, I was in the church from, I think, 2004, till about 2007, until they'd actually totally gone.
Right. So during that time you were coming, you were learning to use your faith. It was a process, because at the beginning, I remember speaking to you, there was a lot of resistance from your part in believing that things could change, that things could get better. And you were saying earlier that you could never, there was no chance of you ever having a job at that time because you just couldn't cope. How has it been since you've been free? You've been free now for how long?
Nearly 10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah.
And how has it been? Are you working?
Yeah.
How are you as a person now?
Well, basically my life is blessed. I'm happy. I wake up every single day. I'm not addicted to alcohol. I don't feel I need alcohol. I don't have to take tablets. I don't wake up with depression. I don't wake up hearing voices. I can go to sleep, you know, with a clear head. I don't hear people screaming, shouting at me in my head anymore.
What about a job? Can you hold a job?
Yeah, I have a full-time job now. I'm doing something that I love. I work with people, customers. I'm really enjoying my job. Yeah.
So your life really changed.
Yes, totally.
Right? I'm not saying that you may not find cases of people who don't recover from depression or from whatever problem it is without the help of prayer. Sometimes the person, you know, it's like they overcome a problem, but then they have another 10 on their back. But in this case with you, it's been a total transformation.
Total transformation.
Are you happy?
I'm so happy.
By the way, you're wearing this pink shirt. What's that about?
It's a special event happening in the church, especially for women. It's happening this Saturday. It's going to be an excellent event. It's going to be there to help all types of women who've gone through abuse, whether physical, spiritual, you know, neglect, things like this. It's there to support women.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
All right, because I've been seeing a lot of people in pink, so I wanted to ask.
It's going to be good.
Thank you very much. Pamela, your story is amazing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pastor.
Now, I want to introduce you to the person who walked in front of the cameras a few moments ago. She's just here with me, and her name is Kimberly. How are you, Kimberly?
Good evening.
You okay?
I'm well, thank you.
She could have chosen to walk in front of the cameras when we had the break, but she didn't. But that's what makes her so special, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any comments, any emails, anything you want to read?
Yes, we do. We have the mail of the day. When my mother was dying from cancer, I became very aware of the gaps and barriers in our relationship. One night, lost in a sea of my emotions, I sat down at the dinner table and started to write. I wrote almost automatically for about an hour. In a letter, I poured out my regrets, my feelings of sorrow, my desires for the relationship I had hoped we would have. When I finished, my head was still spinning, but I noticed that a small space had opened. I had more room to breathe. I believe that space helped me to be more present, to appreciate the brief time I had with my mother. This really helped me to deal with what had happened and to be at peace with my mother's passing. It was then I truly understood the connection between our spiritual and physical life. Annie.
Okay, and Annie, it's good that you found a way to cope with that difficult time. But I want to make something very clear here, that not all problems are spiritual, okay? I would not attribute a headache to a spiritual problem. It would be unintelligent of me. It's a very different situation if you struggle with headaches every single day. That can't be explained. If you are not under stress, everything seems to be going well, but there is a problem there. It could be a medical problem, could be sometimes a spiritual problem, but by no means am I saying that every problem is spiritual. We were talking about sicknesses in the beginning. For example, if I choose not to look after my health, and because of that I get sick, how can that be a spiritual problem? Do you agree with me? Every relationship that I have, I mistreat the people or the person that I'm with, and then the relationship doesn't last, that's not a spiritual problem. That's me that needs to change. So I'm not saying that every problem is a spiritual problem. But what I'm saying to you is that if you find yourself in a situation that for you, there's no explanation to what is happening and you need help, then you can count on us. The number to call is 020-7686-6300. We're going to go into a short break. When we come back, we are going to get ready for the prayer. I believe that a prayer can make a huge difference. If your problem is indeed spiritual, the prayer we are going to make now, and I'm gonna offer to you now a strong prayer. A prayer that even if I don't know the problem you're going through, and even if I can't mention your problem by name, but we are going to go to the root of that problem. And by faith, this prayer will make a difference if your problem is a spiritual one. Let's prepare ourselves to talk to God. Prepare your glass with water. Let's pray on your behalf.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like a prayer for your general well-being, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus, I unite my faith with my colleagues who are here standing next to me, and I determine that this problem that perhaps has been attacking this person, oppressing this person, whatever it is, this problem that maybe this person knows there is more to it than what meets the eye. So I ask you right now, my Lord, that your power will go inside the life of this person to remove this constant headache, these migraines that seem to be driving this person mad, this spirit of depression that makes this person to feel suicidal, this spirit causing the panic attacks, the inexplicable diseases or sicknesses or pains. Ah, my God, whatever is affecting this person right now, I command it in the name of the Lord Jesus to leave this person's life. My dear friend, where you are, be relieved of your pain. Be relieved of your oppression. And your freedom starts here today. In the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We consecrate this water, and you may now drink of it where you are. If you've tried every single thing that you could to fix, to solve this problem, and you couldn't, then I want you to count on us. Know that we can and we want to use our faith to help you overcome whatever spiritual problem that you're going through. If you need help, then you can contact the number, the email that we gave you before in the program, and we'll be very glad to help you. Okay? Until next time, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.